the 1960s, as early as 1964, the dynamics of black hair took an unexpected turn and began to deny European standards of beauty. Black people began to trace their roots back to Africa and embraced their natural God-given aesthetics.
Angela Davis, who was a radical, wore big bushy hair, which we thought were just fantastic, and it was called the Afro.
Pride and dignity were the cornerstones for accepting one's blackness. Thus, the 60s ushered in the rebirth of the Afro-African textured hair in its most natural state.
The civil rights movement, the black arts movement, Black Power movement, who are all somehow walking hand in hand. The idea of the Afro becomes revolutionary because that was a source or a sense of talking back to power and saying, you don't define me, your aesthetic doesn't define me. The new black was not going to be defined by a European aesthetic. So the Afro definitely had political meaning. It meant that I am unbought and unbossed.
Black hair became a political statement. Black people and white people mistook Black Power to be associated with the Black Panthers, a group mainly focused on legal justice for Black people in America.
As long as we were willing to turn the other cheek, they realized they had two cheeks to hit.
One of the things that the pamphlet movement was most noted for was the wearing of their berets and their afros. It wasn't a political statement, it was taking pride in who we were as a black person. But the president of that time is how they labeled who were the terrorists against the government, who were the criminals. Those people couldn't get jobs, those people were arrested, some of them were killed. But the one obvious distinction with who was targeted was those who actually wore their natural hair, whether they were part of the Panther movement or not.
The Black Power and the Black is Beautiful movement heralded the Afro as their symbol. And for a time, most Black people were natural.
The Afro first and foremost represents absolute gorgeous beauty to me because I feel like that's natural hair at its best.
At the turn of the 21st century, Black people are getting back to their natural hairstyles. A new reawakening of African beauty and self-discovery is occurring. The main question this time, though, is it here to stay?
It starts with a confidence. You have to have that in you. You have to have that self-confidence on your own to embrace the way you look without the weave or without the chemicals, things like that, because society has taught you you're only pretty with the long straight hair.
I mean, it's really sad to say because everyone should be confident in themselves, but you do have to have a certain level of confidence to go natural, be natural, especially in today's society, because it's not accepted everywhere.
You know, as long as we keep trying to assimilate to being other than ourselves, we're going to continue to catch hell. So we just accept our own, be ourselves. We don't have to worry about that because people are going to think about you regardless, you know. And if we're trying to depend on white people to determine how we should think about ourselves, and we just got a full-blown problem.
Blackness cannot define one's stance on politics, and neither can blackness be defined by how one chooses to wear his or her hair.
Saying I'm black enough or less black when I wear my hair in its natural state. I wear my hair natural because I don't think it necessarily says whether or not I'm black or anything other than.
Blackness is the shared struggle and fight for equality for all people of color around the world, treated wrongly because of the color of their skin and the texture of their hair. For beauty knows no bounds and comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, and hair textures.
The whole diaspora is connected. We're all the same. Ask any white person.
I try to get people to understand that all hair is good hair. Whether it's straight or kinky, it's all good hair.